Statement from Coach, and then we'll jump into questions.
Physical. That's the first thing I'm going to say. I'll say it. It was really one of the most physical scrimmages that we've had since I've been here on both sides of the ball. Guys that really stood out, Mo Horn at corner had a really great scrimmage. Ben Roberts at linebacker. Harvey Dyson at outside linebacker. Justin Horn. I was really pleased. I've been pleased with the last 3 or 4 days, or last 3 or 4 practices with Justin Horn. He's really starting to come on. And then and our 6, there was 6 that played today with the 1s and 2s defensive tackles. Duda, Quincy, DB, James Hanson, golly, I'm trying to think of who else. Oh, Cofield, Rigsby. I mean, they were really dominant whenever it came to the first part of scrimmage. I was really pleased with that. Defensively dominated the first part of scrimmage. I mean, there were 3 and outs right off the bat with the 1s and the 3s, and then the second time the 2s came out, it was 3 and out. So I was happy with that on the defensive side of the ball. Offensive side of the ball, Dre McCray had a really good scrimmage. Jordan Brown, I thought, had a really good scrimmage. We had some big plays with Josh Kelly once we got into the red zone lockout period. But the kid that really stood out, and it's Cam Dickey rolled his ankle in practice, so he didn't go today. And so that pushed Jacoby Williams up to get some with the 2s, and that kid is special. I mean, in the open field, he had 2 big runs of 25 and 35 yards. It was really good to see. And then, saying that the defense dominated the first part of the scrimmage, the offense dominated the red zone. They won red zone lockout 18-4. Again, really sharp, but a lot of teaching. We had way too many pre-snap penalties. We had a Big 12 officials crew. We called it just like they're going to call it in September, October, and November, and December, January. We wanted it called just like that, so we had way too many pre-snap penalties. We just got to make sure that we're focused and detailed with that stuff. That's something that's going to be really big going into next week's practice and next week's scrimmage. So with that, open up for any questions.
You mentioned the defensive tackles dominating for some of the scrimmage. How did the offensive line look, though, conversely, and specifically the competition at left tackle?
Yeah, I thought they did some good things, especially in the red zone lockout. We had some good pass pro with the 1s, but there was not a lot of, whenever we were going those 6 guys versus our first offense in the interior, there wasn't a lot of room to run. I mean, they did a good job of maintaining their gap. They got some knockback, so excited. So we got to get better. A lot of that O-line wise is going to be keep working our pad level. We got everybody back. We'll have 100% everybody back Monday because we get Jackson Hughes fully back. We didn't scrimmage him today, so we'll have all of our lines. So I think this next week is going to be really interesting. We're still, Sterling and Dalton played left tackle today with the 1s. We had Ty Buchanan playing right tackle, but we had Caleb Rogers playing right tackle at times when DC went in at guard. Vinny is kind of that mainstay right now. I'd say Vinny and Caleb, but we want to make sure that we're getting a good mix of all of them playing together so we can find our best 5. I feel the good thing is we have good depth. I thought the 2s, whenever they went out there, did a good job. And, the first time the 2s went out there, Cam Brown was quarterback. They moved the ball a little bit better than the 1s did. But then the 1s, whenever they came out red zone, I mean, they scored twice, and it wasn't, we didn't even come close to putting up a fight with those.
Coach, have you, Coach Johnson talked about the screenplays for the coming year. Have you seen an emphasis on the wide receiver blocking and an improvement in that in spring camp or fall camp so far?
Yeah, that was the one thing why Dre McCray really stood out, and he stood out because he was on the screen side as far as getting some of the screens and producing some good yardage. That probably, as a whole, whenever I talk about physicality, the offense and defense of some of those screens, they were really physical. And then we had a big play to get the red zone started to Josh Kelly and Micah Hudson's out there on the edge blocking and being really physical. I mean, that's another thing that Josh Kelly, both of them do a really good job blocking for each other.
Is that a want-to thing or a coaching thing?
I think, the coaching part is, maintaining your leverage and then understanding, let the defensive guy sometimes, if he starts winning, let him go where he wants to go, just maintain contact, so he's not just free making plays on the ball. But a lot of it's want to. I mean, you got to go out there and you got to want to block on the perimeter, because it's tough. There's going to be a lot of bodies flying around if we're really running to the football whenever it comes to the screen game.
So that's a point of emphasis for you guys this year?
No doubt. No doubt. We've got to be better because two things. We got to be better because it's, just easy yards, it's layups. And then we have too many guys at the skill position, like talking about Dre McCray, Josh Kelly, Caleb Douglas, Jordan Brown, guys that are really, really good screen guys, Micah Hudson, that are so sudden. We got to do a better job on the perimeter.
Coach, you mentioned Cam Dickey didn't go. I saw Bryce Ramirez during that period that we were there the other day.
Yeah,
Not suited.
hamstring, hopefully getting him back. We had a red zone lockout our last one, and Jalen Condor had like a 25-yard touchdown on the red zone lockout, and both of them were one was at 20.9 miles per hour, and the other was with 20.8 miles per hour, and he was the one trying to knock him out of bounds on the 1 yard line, and Jalen scored, and he kind of tweaked it there, but feels good.
What about Joseph Day-Ray?
Joseph, same thing, got rolled up, talking about screens, kind of got rolled up. He should be back Monday.
So is his ankle?
Yeah.
Or something like that?
Yeah.
You mentioned Mo Horn right off the bat that he had a strong scrimmage. Can you go a little more into detail about his performance today?
Yeah, it's huge because Braylon Lux is such a good corner. He has played, you're talking about a guy, when you start looking at guys that have played a lot of college snaps, so we feel great about him. And I thought Mo had a really good spring, but he's taken it to another level. He's just, even if the ball is caught, he is right there battling, to knock the ball out. He's 180 pounds, so you're like, man, 180 pounds, how physical you can be. He's really physical as a corner, and did a good job attacking the ball today. I thought that the corners, especially early in the scrimmage, was the reason. Run game, the defensive tackles, in the pass game, I thought the corners really gave our receivers on the outside all they could handle.
Coach, on that star battle between A.J. McCarty and Brendan Jordan, I guess, who stood out through 9 practices so far, and I guess where are you at that point?
Yeah, I would say I feel great about both of them first. We really do feel really good about our two deep. Whenever I say our ones went out on defense, I bet we played 22 guys with our ones today. Honestly, when you talk about the outside linebacker rotation, you're talking about the D-tackle rotation, and you're talking about inside linebackers. I bet we played 22 guys, even at the star position, because both AJ, if I started tomorrow and we were going out and we were starting the game, I would say AJ would be the starter going out, but I feel really good about both of them. They both do some really good things. AJ does a really good job in coverage. And then he's a really good blitzer. He does a really good job. He's very sudden, and he takes great angles. And then BJ, he's got a little bit more experience in this defense, playing last year, and then he's 210 pounds. So, lining up over a tight end, being physical on the edge, setting edges is kind of what he's really good at.
Has he improved on setting the edge? Because I remember that early last season, that was a point that you guys were a little concerned with him.
Yeah.
Was that inexperience, and now he's kind of taking that step with Brendan?
Yeah, it's all angles because he wanted he wanted to set the edge. It wasn't a lack of physicality, but it's a little bit different at this level from the standpoint of who's blocking you at the receiver position. If you go back and you have guys that are really willing to block and do a good job leverage wise, so many times he was like, hey, I can beat this guy inside, and then he's getting washed instead of, no, you got to set the edge. That ball cannot bounce outside of you. And he's doing a lot better job with that.
You mentioned Cam Brown. How did the other quarterbacks look today?
Yeah, I thought he did a really good job. I thought all 4 of them at different times had good scrimmages. It was funny. I was walking off with Cam, and I said, "You did a good job." Whenever we got started, and he goes, "Man, I was all right." And I said, "Well, Cam, you got to always remember, part of your game is never going to show up in the scrimmage. I'm not going to let anybody hit you. So, part of his game and the things that we can do with him, you're going to see it in practice. You know, you're not going to see it in scrimmages because I don't want to get him hit. But, you know, the quarterback run game goes to a whole different level whenever he comes in the game.
Did you see from Barron what you wanted to see in terms of him not trying to extend plays and being smart with throwing the ball out of bounds or something along those lines?
Yeah, he took the ball out of bounds a couple times. It was really good. You know, I thought that he hung in there whenever he needed to hang in there. We had a couple of good plays with him scrambling, but there were two that he immediately, you know, got out of the pocket and threw the ball out of bounds, where I think last year in a game, if he was probably getting hit instead of getting the ball out.
Got time for about 2 or 3 more.
Coach, you mentioned the outside linebacker rotation that you, with the ones, I guess, who was in that group? Was it Isaac, Dylan?
Yeah, the guys that, you know, the guys that are going out there, Isaac at the B, and Harvey with, the, you know, as he rotates through, Joseph, since he didn't go today, you know, you really got 3 guys that you're like, hey, who kind of cares who's out there? I mean, they all do good things, and there's different things that they do well. And then Charles Esters, Amir Washington has had a phenomenal camp. He kind of tweaked his groin yesterday, and so we didn't, like, if it was a game, he would have gone today, but, you know, I didn't want to get him out there and then all of a sudden he gets it worse and now it's 2 or 3. I mean, he's a young guy. We all saw him in the bowl. He needs a lot of reps because he is going to make a huge impact on this team. But Charles Esters, Ansel was out there, you know, some with the 2s. And then Sam Carroll, he was more with the 2s and the 3s, but they did a good job.
Following up on that, who did you say, Ansel?
Ansel, yeah, he was, if you remember, he was a freshman last year. He got banged up, he tore his Achilles during camp last year, and you know, he's back. It's good to have him back, man. He's really hungry. He's had a great summer. You know, he's like 260-something pounds, and it's good. It's going to be really fun, though, with that group, because I think there's some different guys we can do some different things with. Braylon Rigsby, we've kind of done some different things with, playing him all over the place. And so our bigger packages, I think, could be more effective than what we have been, especially the first 2 years, just because of our depth.
What about, did you mention Dylan Spencer?
Yeah, Dylan Spencer, we lost him for the year, knee.
When did that happen?
At practice number 1, maybe practice number 2, non-pads, non-contact, just so he's going to be out for the year.
Just take a bad step,
Yeah.
or how does that happen?
Yeah, bad step, kind of overextended, and it's kind of scary whenever you're non-contact guys.
Coach, have you decided on any red shirts for the year?
No, man. You know, there's going to be some, but like, I'll give you guys that, I mean, Cam Dickey's not going to redshirt. Micah Hudson's not going to redshirt. You know, I hope like crazy that we're not playing 4 quarterbacks this year or 3 quarterbacks. I mean, we want to play 1 and get 2 out whenever we need to, and play 7 in certain packages. But those are the guys. It'd be interesting. I mean, there's some guys that are really showing up, but those 2 for sure. I don't see us, you know, redshirting those 2 guys.
Coach, wanted to talk about that in-helmet communication real quick. Y'all had a bit more time with it. Who's been wearing that mic on defense, and what are your thoughts with it offensively?
You ask a great question, because today we went into Jones AT&T Stadium and we cranked up the volume. If y'all didn't hear it, we really cranked it up, and I think the sound system even has more. Gio was trying to be, I guess, sweet to all the neighbors around the stadium. But it was so great for us because it's the first time, even though we play music, it was the first time that you could definitely see. We even piped in crowd noise whenever we were on the big Jumbotron end, and all our quarterbacks had to cover their ears because, you know, it's hard for those guys to hear. It's been great. You know, all the quarterbacks have the communication whenever they go on the field. And then on the defensive side of the ball, you've got Jacob Rodriguez, you've got Ben Roberts, and you've got Bryce Ramirez will have the green dots. It's going to be interesting. I mean, it's just like that happens in the NFL. You know, you can't have 2 green dots on the field. So we'll have to have an extra helmet for Cam Brown, and then my 3 linebackers will all have to have an extra helmet. By rule, the free kicks are where we can have more than 2 green dots. So meaning, kickoff return. But other than that, any punt return, field goal block, we only have one on there. We have Big 12 refs out here, but we didn't want to mess with, because we've only been wearing our one practice helmet. We'll practice in a second helmet this week with those guys, so we're actually scrimmage number 2. We're going to practice where we're going to have those guys on and off to where we'll have to have different helmets because it's a 5-yard penalty. And man, I mean, you just think about it, it's 4th and 4, they're coming out to kick a field goal and you got 2 green dots, you just gave them a first down. So all that stuff we got to practice. It's going well. DeRuyter's in the box. I think he really it's even better for him whenever he gets to be in the box versus practice. And then Kitley, I thought today was the first day also because we finally got all the equipment. Today was the first day that we worked with the shutoff. And so if you remember in the bowl, we could talk the whole time. In practice right now we have been, but we got the shutoff. So today I'm really anxious to hear what they thought, the players thought, what Kitley thought whenever we had the shutoff today. The shutoff affects offense more than it does defense.
Is Kitty gonna be the one talking?
Yeah.
From the sideline?
Yeah, Kitley's going to be from the sideline talking. We're still you guys, y'all know this. Y'all have heard me gripe about this. It's an absolute horrible rule. It's really comical. You're still going to see everybody's signal. You can't, again, we're signaling a little bit different whenever it comes on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, we're not because you're still talking about your entire secondary. We actually experimented with letting the linebacker that has it on tell the other linebacker, and then they were going to communicate to the 2 levels. We got lit up like a Christmas tree. I mean, it was a fiasco. And so please, for all the other coaches that we play, please, no, don't signal. Have one guy trying to communicate it to everybody on the field whenever you're playing college football and tempo. Hopefully they relook at this after this year whenever everybody still sees all the boards and on all that where people are reporting you're not going to see that. They didn't change anything. They just found the easy way to get it passed.
Joey, back to a position competition.
Yeah.
Again. How's the kicker looking right now?
Good. I would say today, just off of my going through it, Gino won the day. They both had some kicks that were 40 plus yards. With our kicks, we're trying to be 80+% when you start talking about 47 yards. Kind of that's the mark. I know Reese missed one. I don't know what the distance was. I want to say it was a 40-yarder, and I think Gino hit all of his. So if it was going today, I think coming into this, Reese kind of had a little bit of a lead. I think Gino, won the day whenever you're looking. That's one thing that I'm trying to do in every moment of every practice, finding ways, like I'll end and act like I'm starting to talk and just yell Mayday. We are trying to put as much pressure for 2 reasons. Number one, we want to create competition, but number 2, Reese has earned the right to be in a battle with Gino, and we want to make sure we have the best kicker out there.
I saw a clip of Adam Hill scoring a touchdown.
Yes.
Deciding offense or defense versus him, or y'all just do it to balance out the room, or is there a specific reason you put him at running back versus linebacker?
No, I think for a couple of reasons. One, said it perfectly to balance out the room because of the depth at linebacker. It's going to be interesting after this year where he ends up. But if you look at our behind ties, you have a bunch of, so you got a freshman in Cam Dickey that's 210 pounds. And then you've got Cam Valdez that fluctuates between 200 and 205. And then you've got Jacoby that's 180. Then you turn around with Adam Hill, and now he's like 210, 215. And so we're looking at it from the standpoint, if we get in any kind of situation, God forbid, somebody goes down, and we're having to go win the game throwing the ball, we want to have a bigger back there that can hold up and pass pro, and he does a really good job. He had a touchdown today. I don't know if Jacoby had one. I think he might have had one in the second twos, but had 2 long runs. I thought Cam Valdez, really after we got past the first couple of drives, the running backs kind of settled down and were a little bit better.
All right, they'll do it.
All right, thank y'all.
Thank you, Coach.
You bet.